Hey everyone, it is All-Star Ethan here. Now, first of all, I must apologise before I get into the intro, because it's been a little while since my last video, but with good reason. It was my birthday this week, and I now finally have a PC, which you might be able to see by the higher frame rate, as well as my lovely default skin on the R99. So yeah, I'm level 10 right now on there. Now, this has actually got some good things and some bad things. The good thing being that I can edit videos much faster, so you might be able to see videos a little bit more often nowadays, and I can just get them up and done pretty quickly. I'm genuinely so happy with how fast that is. And the other thing is the videos are pretty much high quality as well. I can record in high quality on this as well, although I am changing settings around to get a better frame rate and things like that. Now, the bad side is that I've got very much used to the aim assist on console. Now, there is still an aim assist on PC, but it is not quite as much. So, trading things like recoil and all of that kind of thing has kind of been pretty different for me, basically, because I've got the muscle memory down for the Xbox, and I'm trying to turn that over. Now, the good side of that is that a video like this, where we're trying to master our recoil, is actually very useful for me, and you get to kind of see what an average player goes through instead, because I feel like I'm very much an average player now that I've jumped over to here and my aim is not quite as good, whereas on console I consider myself definitely in the well above average kind of range. So I'd put myself at that average place now, and I think that most of you that are probably watching a video like how to master your recoil are probably at that place as well, so maybe this would actually be a good thing. You can see how shocking I am very shortly. But first of all, let's actually get into it. We are going to be doing the R99, the Volt, and the Alternator today, the SMGs. Now, I was thinking about doing the Prowler, but with that being a care package weapon, I might cover care package weapons in a different video, maybe, if you want to subscribe and turn that notification on to see that in the future. Like I say, might come out sometime soon with me being able to get videos out quicker. So first of all, we're going to start with the R99. Now, I'm going to go through the basics in more detail with this gun, but if you do want to skip to the Volt, you can do. You'll still get a little brief kind of thing. And each gun has their own kind of little nuance, so you might want to watch all of them. The Alternator has had its damage buff as well, so although it's not a gun you might use very much, certainly picking up at the start of the game, you might want to actually know how to use it properly, because it can be pretty good. It can be pretty good. Now, first of all, what you are going to want to do is, first of all, get yourself two R99s. One of them is going to be fully kitted. The other one is going to be non-kitted, apart from having a magazine. Doesn't need to be gold, of course, could be purple. But the point being is, we want to be making use of all of those bullets. Now, one of the things which I just had to actually change myself, because I've been messing around with my settings, is do make sure that when you go into your settings here and your video, where is it down here, impact marks, make sure you got this on high so that we can actually see all of these bullets in the wall in just a moment. So what you're going to do is you're going to come across here and you're going to take your fully kitted R99 and you're going to aim at the wall and just hold down the trigger. You're not going to be wanting to adjust for that recoil whatsoever, so keep your thumb off that right analog stick. I'm of course doing this on console rather than mouse and keyboard, but the same kind of principle would work on mouse and keyboard as well, and I am trying to learn mouse and keyboard, so I'm certainly going to be using this myself. So we get a fully kitted one there, and then you're going to switch to your non-kitted one, of course, and do the same kind of spray up there. Now, what you might be able to notice is that they are both very similar, with the one that has a barrel stabilizer being a little bit closer together. That is of course because the barrel stabilizer helps with recoil a little bit. But the main thing we're looking for is the basic pattern here. Now you can see it actually starts off pretty well. There's a very slight right turn at the start. Really barely anything though, so we're going to want to do a little left to compensate for that, but then mainly the aim drifts right, again not so much, so we're going to want to go left a little bit up here as well. Now when it reaches the top, this is the interesting part, because when it reaches the end of that clip, it kind of goes a little bit all over the place, and it's hard to even judge from this whether it's going left or right or whatever. So what we're actually going to do is have another little feel for it here. I'm going to use the one without a barrel stabilizer, and it goes left first. So we're actually compensating left up till here, and then we're going to start needing to go right, left, right, like quite quickly as well. You can see how grouped up they are at the top, so that's going to be quite fast at the end. We'll see if we can get that down anyway. So the way that we're going to practice this is, first of all, we're going to start off on the target dummies, because they have the little bit of aim assist on them. You can actually see, I'm going to not move my right stick here, my left, you can see the left kind of just pulling that tiny bit on there, so I'll do it again. So yeah, the dummies definitely do have a little bit of aim assist on there, and that is going to help us out a little bit, and then we're going to move on to the targets. So what you're going to do first is have a little bit of a play around with that. So we decided from our recoil pattern that we were going to do a very slight left to begin with, and then a longer left there, and then I believe yeah, it goes left, right, left. So a slight left, a longer left, and then we're going to go right, left, right to kind of counteract that recoil at the end. So let's try that out here. So slightly left, not too bad, but definitely not stationary. But at least you can kind of get a few shots up. Now this is of course with the purple barrel stabilizer, so it's a little bit easier. That's not bad at all. Man, it does feel good to have these frames right here. So once you've done that a few times, you're going to actually make it a little bit more structured, and you're going to go at the first one here, and the aim is to basically one-clip the dummies. And you can see that the end part was kind of letting me down. You can see I'm really not keeping it stationary on there. Now the front part, the sort of like downwards and left recoil, not too bad on. But that end part, being able to quickly do that right, left, right, near impossible for me right now. I definitely need to get used to that. But once you can one clip on the first one, it should be pretty easy with a purple barrel. Across the second one and try and do the same thing. And basically, once you've done it on each kind of little groove a couple of times, you go all the way back to the third one. Again, when you're going to try and one clip, that's pretty bad. It's strafed out behind there. So let's try it actually stationary this time. And again, not quite one clipping. So this is my struggle range at the moment, and I know I would have got that on Xbox as well. I actually recorded this video beforehand on Xbox, and then decided I wanted to do it on PC instead. And on the Xbox ones, I could get headshots from this range pretty easily. So there's going to be my downfall a little bit in moving to PC. My game is not being quite as good, but hey ho, that's what practice is for. So once you've done it with the fully kitted ones, and when you've got to the point where you're at the kind of third one and you can one clip them semi-regularly, bear in mind this is an SMG, it's going to be rare using it at this kind of range. You'll have an assault rifle usually. But once you can one clip semi-regularly from the third one, you're then going to have a little play around with the one that is not kitted. Apart from of course the magazine, and again you can have a little play around with it. Now sometimes weirdly, I find the non-kitted ones easier to control because I have that recoil pattern down, and a lot of the times when you're in a match, you don't have a purple barrel stabilizer. So you tend to use these guns a little bit more. And what you're going to do is take the non-kitted one, basically go through the same process. You're just trying to one clip from various ranges. Try and keep it on target. Now that recoil is definitely hard to control for sure. Alright, let's try this again. Much better, much better. A lot more concentration there. Before I was having a little chat, playing it like it's a usual match and things. But yeah, you're going to do it a couple of times at each one, and again, finally finishing up on the third one, and see where you get that one clip off. Oh, there we go. That was not too bad whatsoever. And that one was not as great. I actually counteracted the recoil wrong at the end. I went left first instead of right, which was a bad choice. Right, there we go. That is what we want. So each time you're doing this, you need to be picking up as well on the mistakes you're making. So there, I'd kind of known what I was doing wrong to adjust the control, and then fixing it obviously on the next one. So what I was doing was that end part that's where we're sort of doing a little left, a long left, and then we're supposed to be going right, left, right. That end part I was going left, right, left instead. So that was the bad part, a couple of bits. And then once you get it down, should be able to one clip semi-regularly on these. There we go. Okay, so that is it for the R99. Now this basic principle is what we're going to carry out for the Volt as well as the alternator. And what we could also do is, because we get the auto aim on there, the next step to stepping this up a little bit will be going for things like the back targets and just trying to keep it on the back target as much as possible. So 297 is what you're aiming for there. I think I hit all of the bullets, which sounds about right for the R99, 297 damage. And what you'll be doing is the same kind of distance training on each of those. Yep, so I think 297 was the max. We missed a bullet there. Miss a few bullets on that one, so let's try and get this done. There we go, 297. So that one doesn't have aim assist, so that's kind of like the next step after the dummy is going to those back targets, and then eventually you can try and go for those ones at the back. Now I definitely need some more practice for them on that point. So we're going to be following the same principle for the Volt and the Alternator, but they each have a little nuance, so make sure to stick around a little bit to check those out. Okay, so we are back with the Volt, and you can see we have the same kind of thing going on as with the R99. Need to get rid of that purple barrel. What are you doing? Get out of here. Okay, we've got a fully kitted one, as well as one that just has a gold extended mag on it, and we of course need plenty of ammunition. Now we're going to do the same sort of thing. We're going to come across to one of the back walls over here, one that's clean. Obviously we don't want those R99 marks on there, and we're going to take the fully kitted one, and we are going to hold the right trigger. Remember, not touching that analog stick or whatsoever. You can actually see, compared to the R99 one, this is a clean recoil on here. And even when we've got no barrel stabilizer on the next one, again, you can see these ones obviously a little bit more grouped together, just less downward recoil needed when we've got a purple barrel stabilizer. And then it is accentuated a little bit on the one with no barrel stabilizer. And the main recoil really is just a slight right, kind of like all the way through it. Very, very slight though, so that means that we're going to need a slight left to compensate for it. Now at the top, we're going to need to stop pulling down quite so much as well. So obviously a lot of the guns, the main recoil is upward. So we're going to be going down with a slight left until we get near the top, where it actually pulls left. I don't know if I zoom in a little bit, you can see this part actually pulls left here. So we're going to go down with a soft left until quite a hard right up near the top there, and kind of stop pulling down quite as much. So we're going to do it the same way as the R99. We're going to come to the dummy. We're going to have a little play around first. Just get used to it. You don't need to kind of structure this stuff. You're literally just having a little play around and getting used to it. So we are going to go down with a soft left on there. Now that's nice and easy. And you're going to actually find we probably won't even get to the end of the clip with this, because the dummies will die a lot quicker. To, and you are aiming for headshots a lot of the time. There we go, easy peasy. So down, soft left. Yeah, I mean that's the Volt is pretty nice with its recoil. So once you do that a few times to get used to it, we're going to be practicing the same sort of thing. Starting with the first one, you are literally just trying to one clip, and the least bullets you can do it in the Bella as well. So if you do go for headshots and you got like, I have there 11 bullets left at the end, then that's pretty good. 10 bullets left on that one, then that is a nice way to be. What that basically means is that you could probably kill these dummies without having the short mag on, so that's pretty nice. Once you've done that a few times, gotten used to it, we're going to be doing it the same as the R99, and coming back to the second one. Once you can do the second one a fair few times as well, then you can come back to the third, and so on. Now, SMG range, of course, you're not usually going to be shooting people with SMGs from much further distance than this, so the third one is actually a pretty good kind of place to stop on there. You could go back a little bit more if you want to, but hopefully you can see this is a much easier to one click even with than the R99. This is the reason why a lot of people prefer the Volt. Certainly in competitive play and things like that, people go for the Volt instead. It's just generally way easier to do. Now, because the Volt's so easy, things that you can do to step it up is obviously not have the aim assist on the dummy, and you can kind of have a go at hitting that. 375 looks like it is the target to get to. We only got 315 there. I think I missed a bullet during that. Yeah, 390 looks like the max actually on there. Now, once you've gotten used to the one with fully kitted barrel stabilizer and things like that, you're obviously going to do the same thing. No barrel stabilizer. That's a little bit trickier to hit some headshots with this, but we can do it. And oh, 100, I started reloading in the wrong place there. So once you played around with it, it's going to be the same thing as the fully kitted. You're going to come to the first one. Once you can do that quite easily, you will come to the second one and complete that as well. Get a few more headshots on there. Yeah, 5 bullets left over here. You can see I'm clearly not hitting it quite so right now. I'm not actually concentrating my recoil. I'm going to try and concentrate on it a bit more. There we go. Way more headshots on that one. Again, good headshot. 9 bullets at the end on that one. That's like that was better than the ones we were doing at the first bit, because I'm actually concentrating on recoil. Now, it is important to do that during a match as well, to try and concentrate on that recoil control. Now, what I like to do sometimes is have like some little sticky notes around and things like that with the recoil patterns on. So it might have Volt, and I might just say like soft left on it or something like that, just kind of give yourself that little reminder. Now, that is basically it for the Vault. We're going to move on to the Alternator, and you're going to want to watch this because the Alternator is a little bit of a weird gun, and I'll show you why in just a moment. Okay, so here we are again with our two alternators, one fully kitted, one blank but with a gold mag on it, and plenty of light ammo, of course. Now, on to seeing why the alternator is a little bit weird, and should be able to see pretty easily here. We're going to come to a wall, we're going to do the same thing as the last two SMGs. We're going to use our fully kitted one, which is going to hold down the trigger. And then we are going to do the same thing with our non-kitted one, and again you can see the recoil patterns being a little bit better with the fully kitted one. It doesn't go up quite as much as this one does. But on to the interesting thing about the alternator, and the interesting thing about its recoil is that it is called the alternator because it has two barrels and it alternates the shot between them to give itself kind of a faster fire rate for what is supposedly a quite powerful gun. Now, in Apex, that doesn't translate amazingly, with its damage-wise being very similar to an R301 and its fire rate being nowhere near the R99. However, it is interesting in a sense that sometimes if your aim is a little bit off, it can be a little bit easier to hit people because of the alternating barrels kind of going left and right. So if people are kind of crouch strafing in front of you and such, then sometimes you can get some like easier shots on them because your bullets are kind of making more of a spread. It's kind of like the same way that the L-Star has larger projectiles onto it, so you're more likely to hit somebody. The alternator kind of the same way on this, but you can certainly see there is definitely a recoil pattern as well. It mainly goes straight up, so we're going to be pulling it hard down, and then it goes off to the left towards the end, so we're going to be trying to go to the right towards the end, basically. But a pretty easy recoil pattern, really. Let's see how it fares in this. Now, I don't use the alternator very much, but since it's a damage buff, it's probably worth actually checking out. So we're basically going to be going down and then a right towards the end. So, I mean, yeah, actually felt quite good. That was bad. See, I actually pulled too far right at the end, so I need to make sure I don't do that. So again, picking up on the little things. And you know what? Actually feels pretty good. I need to go for a few more headshots. Wow, I mean, if you can hit those headshots, that is pretty good. Okay, so following the same steps as before, let's see how we fare on each section. Now, I'm only using like half the clip on this as well, so this is a powerful weapon. Even I've got straight onto the second one here, and there we go, even half the clip again, but I thought I'd kill it a bit sooner to try and get a few more headshots on there. There we go. I'm saying half the clip, it's more like in all honesty. That was a good one, good headshots on there. So once you can do it on the second one, we are going to follow the same patterns as before, going on to the third one, trying to do it nice and easy. Not shoot too fast. Wow, this could actually, I need to try this thing out in my actual matches, because this is not bad whatsoever. I feel like I can make a name for myself going around rocking. Alright, that's pretty good. So once you've gotten used to it with the barrel stabilizer on, the option try with no barrel, and that is obviously a little bit more difficult. We're going to pull down a little bit more. I'll go to the first one. I mean, I practice from like kind of second one range. That's where I find myself at the most common range when fighting people, unless I'm right up in their grill, in which case you're hip firing anyway. Even at first one, pretty easy one clip because of the damage this thing does, as well as it's quite large clip size. That's the same R301, I think, with gold barrel on there, 27. The R301 is on. But this thing actually does really go through people. It does have a pretty fast fire rate. It does with that twin barrel. I mean, not as quick as the R99, of course. Otherwise, this gun would be insane if it did this amount of damage as fast as the R99. But now, I'm really struggling at this longer range. I've got to say, really struggling at the longer range. So let's try that again. There we go. A little bit more concentration is what I need on it. Like I said before, you've got to be able to keep that concentration in actual matches as well, and not panic. Now, little things to step this up is, of course, again, going to need a back target at the end, and I'm missing a few on those. Let's try that again. There we go, that's much better, 416. And another thing as well is to start practicing strafing whilst doing it. So you're counter-practicing with your strafing and you're still trying to one clip. I'll the same sort of range. So you're trying to just counteract your left and right movements. And then if you want to step that up another notch, see that there, strafing whilst crouch spamming as well. And somehow keeping your aim on target, that is the aim there. So if you do want that intense difficulty on there, that is what you need to be working towards. Hitting that target whilst strafing and crouch spamming as well, being able to one clip from there. Because that's what actual gameplay is like. Anyway, I've been All-Star Ethan, and this has been great. Now, loving the PC so far. I am going to try and get much better on it. I'm going to try and get used to that aim assist on there as well. I am also trying to learn mouse and keyboard, but it's going to be a long way until I'm good enough to have a video on that. So for now, if you do want to see a little bit more, and they're going to be videos quite often, especially these guide ones, and bearing in mind we have done the Master Recoil assault rifles as well. This has been the SMG one. I believe I'm going to do the LMGs next. So if you want to see that, as well as eventually we're going to get onto things like the Wingman and the Marksman rifles as well, then hit that sub button as well as the little notification ones as well. So it pops up and you see it, and it'll be like Master Recoil, LMGs, and you'll be like, oh god, that sounds good. I love using the Spitfire because it is insanely OP, and now I might actually be able to use it even better. Then that would be absolutely perfect. So you should definitely do that. Anyway, I have been All-Star Ethan, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.